Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
I'm appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with yo ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, cause it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Well, here we go. Welcome. Jay Bird just settling into his day when we get to the podcast.
Yes, sir.
You got your food in front of you now? We're ready to go, huh?
We are ready to go.
He goes, the show flew by. I'm like, yeah, you showed up at 7.
Yeah,
It does go quicker when you're late.
it does. What'd you get over there to eat? Boy, it smells good.
I didn't get that much today. I got 2
Really?
grilled cheeses,
Okay.
2 fries, 2 hash browns.
Okay. Now, is that food for the day or the
No.
meal? Or
It'll be a meal. And I probably won't eat all of that.
Okay.
It'll probably stay in my fridge for a day. And then I'll eat some a little bit tomorrow. The sandwiches will be gone today.
Okay.
I mean, they're kid grilled cheeses because they don't do a big boy grilled cheese there. So they literally give you 4 fries per sandwich. I mean, you should see the. Let me show you. I'll show you the fry amount
Please do.
that you
Very
get.
Curious what you got going on there.
It's like
Oh, that's a small fry.
those are like 11 fries there.
Yeah, it's insulting to a man.
That is insulting. This is an insulting sandwich, but
Now,
this
would
is
you
the world I live in.
would you disagree? Because I would say that French fries age terribly.
They do.
Would you agree or disagree with that?
I
Yeah, so-
only eat fries in that 10-minute window that they come out of the fryer.
Yeah.
And those IHOP fries look sad, by the way. No offense, IHOP, but really, get it together with that fry.
Fries got about I would say, no longer than a 30-minute shelf life.
Yeah.
As soon as you put them in a styrofoam container, too, when you close the lid, they start steaming themselves.
Right, and they get
And
soggy immediately.
It's
Yeah.
not good.
That's the invention right there. Who can make the French fry that does not get fucked?
I think you got to put a dehumidifier in your to-go container.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there we go.
Don't know what that means.
Be a challenge for science. I don't know if science is up for the task. Yeah, there's one thing they got to work on. It's been in my head is that story that we'd had yesterday about how people got plastics in their bloodstream, and I'm just like, man, I got plastic on everything. I do that food service, everything's in plastic. I'm just like, it would be tough.
It would be damn near impossible if you tried to go through your life and eliminate all plastics. But think about it. 50 years ago, they didn't have plastics like we have now. They ate their vegetables out of a can,
Yeah.
and they cooked all their food fresh, and they didn't have, drink pouches and
Well, even out of
bottled
the
water.
can, you can talk about the metals in that. I mean, that used to be an issue. I mean, going back even before that, we used to just pull that crap right out of the garden and throw it on the table.
You're right.
Maybe you had to dust off a few bunny turds, but other than that, there was nothing standing in your way that was going to be messing you up.
I blame Tupperware. Remember Tupperware?
Tupperware was big.
That was so bad. I think my mom and Ann sold that shit.
Everybody's mom sold that shit.
It was Tupperware. And what was the other big thing back then where you sold it? It was
Avon.
Avon.
My
yes.
mom sold the shit out of Avon.
So did Ann.
They would always have all these samples too, like hundreds and hundreds of like little free mini lipsticks and stuff.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, they're heavily involved in that.
Yeah. Well, I got a few emails here. This one said, hey, this Tuesday morning, I was on my way to work listening to Monday's After the Show podcast, and I was laughing hysterically about the Liberator Wedge email. There was somebody talking about how they were having the best sex of their life, and they're using the Liberator. And
It's
it was
a
just
wedge you put like under your butt, or you put it on the edge of the bed and you lay on it.
put you in ultimate sexual positions for the best penetration of your life. Wow. That's what the email was saying. I was laughing about it. It was very entertaining. And then at the email, Kevin read, Gina from Pennsylvania. I couldn't believe it. As I was driving, I almost lost my eyesight. I almost hit a barrier in the highway. I'm like, oh my gosh. I had to replay it again to hear it right. I realized this email was from my mother.
That is awesome.
She was going on about how she was getting drilled in all these different directions and loved it and was screaming like just a coyote. And it was really hard to focus on my way to work for the rest of the day, too. I just felt traumatized. It's not every day you hear the explicit details of your own parent's sex life over a podcast.
That is crazy. Oh, my
I
God.
love it. Gina, you're a rock star.
I kept texting her, "Are you Gina from PA on the KVJ podcast?" She ignored my text for the better part of the day, but saw her later on that night, and we had a good laugh about it. But it's going to be really awkward this Thursday, and I will no longer sit on any of the furniture that I see at that house.
That's so funny. Imagine you are driving and you hear the radio people are talking about your parents
Your
doing
mom's
Well, she
making
was all
this
into
sex
it.
confession.
She was all into it, and then she's like, "Wait, what?"
That's awesome.
Lorraine from Pennsylvania, so.
it. Wow. Our
Lorraine, I mean, you got here some way, you know? Gina likes to get it down
And up.
and up
And
and
over.
sideways.
And, yeah.
And good
Possibly upside down.
good for Gina.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be here if it weren't for Gina's getting frisky.
You're right.
Nate from Loxahatchee loved the college kid interviews. Says one of the best bits you guys have done in a long time. Maybe ever.
Wow.
I know you've done things like that before, but this was by far the best. This needs to be a weekly thing.
Yeah, Jay Bird said he loved it.
Yes.
Yeah, it is not doing good on our YouTube. And I wonder if it's because people don't do notifications and they don't know we do videos. But I know I've talked to a couple Nationers that they're pretty plugged into our show, and they had no idea we did it. So
You have to specifically want notifications to pop up on your phone.
Yeah.
It's tricky with the notifications. I don't get a lot of them.
if you get a chance, check it out. Yeah, it's on our KVJ YouTube page.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Crazy.
He said, please, please, please step this up, get it more often since Handpipe Pennington bailed on Drunk Girl Trivia and Suits is being a pansy about approaching girls to do it. We, the fans, need this. Love you all. Can't wait to hear more of this bit.
Yeah, Suits. Come on, get your shit together.
I think we'll have a drunk girl on next week because of St. Patty's Day.
Sure. We'll have lots of time, lots of content.
I mean, you should be that drunk girl again. I'm sorry, they do love it. You're a star, Snack Bar.
I'll be one of the stars, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of bright, shining moments on Sunday.
What happened to your threat of doing drunk bird trivia? You told me you're going to turn it around on me.
I should.
You told me that you were.
I forgot. That's what happens when you drink a lot.
She was drinking when she told me that.
Thank you for reminding me.
It was your idea.
Let me write it down.
Corey said, love the fun true-false game. I was, I think Fact or Fiction he's talking about. I was just listening to the Full House Fact or Fiction segment. Got an idea for it. I was curious how it would play out if you did another true-false quiz on another show Jason loves that Virginia hasn't seen. Can she do better with Fact or Fiction than Jay Bird on a show that she hasn't even seen? For added fun, throw in a shot collar as punishment.
Pretty fun. Good idea. I like it.
Okay.
Virginia, I don't even think Virginia heard it. She's texting, Coach.
I'm listening.
Okay. What was that email about?
Fact or fiction?
You don't know.
Right. This email from Joey said, while reading this, my wife stopped me to ask if this means that Jaybird could fill a normal-sized bowl since his balls were so big. I'm 100% straight, but now she has me curious. Do you all think the bigger the balls, the bigger the load?
So what now?
I don't know.
I'm really
Fill a bowl.
Yeah, I
now,
don't know if,
do you mean
like-
fill a bowl with just his balls in the bowl, or do you want him to squirt liquid in the bowl from the balls?
Either way, pretty revolting email.
I disagree.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I'd like to see your balls in a bowl.
I mean, my balls aren't that big. I mean, most bowls are pretty large. They're not that big. And
I feel like-
if he's talking about me coming in a bowl, oh my
That's
gosh.
kind of gross.
That's the part I'm talking about. That's revolting.
Yes.
I
You
feel
don't want
like-
to leave that laying out.
No.
I feel like your balls could fill up an ice cream bowl, which is a little
No.
smaller bowl, but they're not going to fill up a cereal bowl.
They would not fill up an ice cream ball. I mean, ball. An ice cream ball. No, they wouldn't. I wish they could. I think I'd let you down. Bring an ice cream bowl in.
All right, I've got an ice cream bowl at home. I've got two. I've got a smaller ice cream bowl, and then I've got a medium ice cream bowl.
And again, not to confuse it too, there's still, you can have tiny balls and long scrotum.
But I don't. But she's talking about a big bowl. My scrotum's not that big.
Yeah, it's just,
It looks big in yoga pants. When you were wearing my pink yoga pants, I swear I felt like your balls were to the middle of your thigh.
Everything's pushing up to my innards. What do you expect? What do you expect from me, lady?
It's kind of like one of those Wonder Bras for your boobs.
I'll bring in the ice cream bowls, and you can do the hard work.
I love it. Bring some ice cream, too.
Looking for some advice here. Said, hey, I'm a huge fan of the show. Love hearing you get real with people and telling them how it is. I had the pleasure of meeting you a few weeks ago at Jam with the Fam, and the kids met you too.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time to hang in Coral Springs. They were so happy, so was I, but this is a serious issue I'm hoping you can help me with. I'm having a really hard time with my boyfriend of almost 17 years and the father of my 3 kids.
Uh-oh.
We've been together a long time and through a lot. I've forgiven so many bad things that he's done to just stay together and to be a family. We're almost 30 now, so I can't deal with the immature, stupid stuff anymore. Well, apparently he's still stuck in that phase. He drinks a lot and acts like a complete jerk, even though I've asked repeatedly, he won't just stop drinking. We've been going through it lately and disagreeing on a lot. I'm only giving you the short story. Yesterday, I had his phone, which he's okay with. We both have access to each other's phones, so I wasn't violating privacy or anything. But I was looking something up and went onto the history. First thing I started to see are these local dating sites. So obviously I get curious and click on one just to see if maybe he was just looking at pictures or something. But no, he had created a profile. His caption said, just looking for a good time with good vibes.
Oh, no.
And clearly says, straight guy seeking a girl. There were notifications and messages from other girls, but I didn't see any that he wrote back. I'm really so conflicted on this, and I don't know if I can let this go after everything that has been going on. I want to make this work for the sake of not splitting up my family. My kids have only ever known having 2 parents. He's been an idiot, but was always in their lives. But now I don't think I can make this work with him. And honestly, even though he says he does, I don't think he does either. He's always telling me how much he loves me and wants me in his life, but his actions are completely the opposite. It's like he doesn't care about me in any way other than words. What do you think I should do here to make it easiest on family? We both work to survive and don't have the luxury of just taking some space. This is a very sensitive subject for me. I hope you can give me some good motivation and advice here. Thanks. Love you so much. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, first off, a couple things. I guess my initial thoughts on this. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously doing stuff that's out of bounds. The stuff with the dating apps, that's out of bounds. You can't have that if you're in a committed relationship. No good. The drinking part, maybe it's something, hopefully meeting in the middle. I know maybe that sometimes it'd be tough for somebody to say, look, you want me to go straight from acting a fool drinking to no drinking at all? Maybe figure out where that is. Is it the drinking or is it his behavior that is the problem? And say, look, you've got to just learn how to space it out. And if you're going to drink, don't do it so it affects your behavior. And, with the kids, too. Say, look, they are watching everything you're doing. It's not even just me. You're treating me bad, but these kids are noticing what you're doing. They notice your behavior. You're setting a horrible example. You're making situations uncomfortable for them. When you do this and you're around them, which you are because you come home, you're creating a bad environment for them. That's a strike against you as a dad. You're not being your best.
And you're showing them how they should act as adults.
Mm-hmm. That's all bad. Now, I get that too, and that's what a lot of people are faced with, costs, and saying, hey, yeah, ideally, I should get my own place and go live separately and this and that. Finances are tight, though, and so we're in a mutually beneficial financial situation of living together. You can still separate under one roof. I know it's not ideal, but, at least financially, you got your place, he's got his, and say, look, we need to divide up some time to maybe separate, and you kind of figure some stuff out, figure out where you want to be with this.
Yeah, the stuff with the dating site, that's even a separate issue from him being drunk and all that. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be able to deal with that. For me, that's a major trust violation.
Yeah.
And I just know how I would react to that. I'm emotionally done with you.
Yeah.
When you do something like that.
There's a conversation.
I know it's tough because there's kids involved.
Right.
Here.
And I think there's a conversation to be had. And on all these, it's like you say in words, not in deeds. I want deeds, not words. So start showing me that you love me. Don't tell me that you love me. Show me that you love me. 1 point, you can't be on any kind of dating sites. That's a deal breaker for me. And that will be it. And at that point, I will consider us to be separate. I will be free to go out and date and do whatever I want to do, and you do the same. If that's going to be your choice. So it's one or the other on that. The drinking, it's too much. You're getting too drunk. If you can have a couple beers or whatever it is you drink and not act a fool, fine. But you're setting a horrible example for the kids. So if you can't, don't come home. If you're going to be intoxicated, don't set foot in the house around the kids. You need to go sleep in your car, in a gutter. I don't care where you go sleep, but don't sleep here.
I just wouldn't put up with that kind of shit.
Well, and here's the thing, too. It sounds like you have put up with a lot. You said in your email you've forgiven a lot. You guys have been through a lot. It sounds like you got together very early in life, and now you're about to go into your 30s. And he is just doing what he's always done, is what it sounds like to me. Mm-hmm. But people will only do what you let them get away with. So you have to change if you want him to change. And you have to show him that you mean business now and that you're in your 30s. This is not like when he was disrespectful when you guys were in your early 20s. You're a different woman now, and you're not going to put up with this childish behavior. You're just not.
You nailed it. You said the best thing out of the entire advice. Things will change when you change how you're approaching that. That's the best advice. You're right. You have to make a big move right now.
You do. And it hurts and it's tricky and it's hard to do, especially as women. You know, we're pleasers. We want to make sure the man's happy. We want to make sure the kids are happy. We're generally people that take a lot of abuse before we finally stand up for ourselves. And it sounds to me like you have this syndrome perfectly in your life. You've put up with a lot. Mm-hmm. And a lot, and you haven't said anything, and you've forgiven a lot. Well, now it's time for you to stop enabling his bad behavior. Mm-hmm. Because when you stand up and say, this is not what I want from my life, he will have to act differently. And if he doesn't, you have to be prepared to walk away from this because you are setting a terrible example for the kids if you show them that this is acceptable behavior is okay because, oh, well, this is just what daddy does.
And I think he's the one that needs to walk away. You need to say, look, because it sounds like the finances are an issue, like they don't have money to...
Show me a house where finances aren't an issue.
Yeah,
show me
some
any
people. I've talked to some people and they say legitimately we don't have enough money for to get 2 rents or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so if that is the case, so he's the one that's doing wrong. He's doing things that are violating your relationship. He's coming home, he's drunk in front of the kids, and you just need to say, as Virginia was telling you, put your foot down and say, look, I'm going to teach you how to treat me and the children, and if you can't do that, if you're going to be drunk and if you're going to be on these dating sites, you need to go. That's going to be your responsibility to find the money or to find the roof over your head, but I'm not doing the wrong stuff. I'm not the drunk. I'm not on the dating site. So if you're going to violate the terms of our relationship, just because we're married doesn't matter. You need to go. That needs to be a choice you need to make so you find out where you're going to sleep, but it's not going to be here. And that's it, and hopefully he'll get out. And if not, throw stuff out. So I don't know. It's tough. Relationships get complicated when you got kids.
And you guys have been together a long time. Here's the messed up thing. People change. You've changed. You've matured. He hasn't. You guys might not be the same perfect match that you were when you were teenagers.
Seasons change. Seasons change. Mm-hmm.
People change.
That's right.
Expose?
It is.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
Are we going to get sued for that? Are we going to get kicked off? Is there a copyright issue?
No, you can sing it. You just can't play it.
You can sing it badly all day.
All you want, man. All you want. Got a cool email that I figured I'd go ahead and share with you guys because maybe you remember. You remember intern Kat used to be with us?
Yes.
She was a Gator. Do you remember I took her to the morning show boot camp with me in Chicago?
Yeah, she had funky hair. I love her hair colors.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. She did some fun stuff. Well, while she was there, she met Ben Davis and Kelly Kay. They are at our former sister station, Alpha Media Louisville, on 99.7 DJX. She went there, and they gave her a job. She's the third seat on their morning show now.
Nice.
They're a good morning show. Very solid show, and they do very well in Louisville.
Good for her.
We knew that was going to be a matter of time.
Yeah.
We knew she was going to get a gig.
Yeah, so I'm happy. She went to Chicago and got connected with them and is now in the industry and doing stuff. Doing
Good
great
for her.
stuff.
She's a
Kat.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
So if you want to know where Kat is, our former intern, that's where she is now. So happy for her.
I miss when we had interns.
Yeah, you're not really allowed to do them anymore because the interns
You can't do them. I know.
complained.
It's so disappointing.
I know people ask me all the time about internships. I'm like, sorry.
Interns actually ruined it for interns.
They did.
Yeah.
They started complaining and saying, we're doing all the work of a paid employee without getting paid. And so they started suing, and companies said, all right, no more interns.
I saw the first lawsuit happen in D.C., and I was like, yep, you just ruined it for everybody. I said, because you're not going to get the pay. Here's what's going to happen.
No.
Radio station budgets don't allow for it. So you're not going to get the pay. They're just going to take away the internships.
Eliminate the opportunity.
Which is so valuable to learn. I did 2 internships, never got paid, and I did them out of state.
Yeah.
And I was
And you got
happy.
your foot in the door.
I was happy to do it. I
You
knew the terms of
learned.
it. Don't go into it. Don't take the internship if you don't like it. I mean, I don't get that. Why we allow this stuff to happen and why we allow a few crybabies in our society today to ruin it for everybody else is I'm beside myself with trying to figure out why we do this, because I knew
labor
the terms
laws.
of it.
You have to have labor laws, but radio never had them enforced.
But you're talking about just the mentality of the crybaby getting what they want.
We always, if you go back and through mankind, we've always had apprenticeships.
Of course.
Apprenticeships were coming in, and if you were like an apprentice to a blacksmith, you were in there and you were working. What your pay was a free education. That was the payment. It was like a scholarship. When I went and worked, it was like a scholarship. So there was an exchange.
Sure.
It wasn't monetary,
No.
but I was receiving value for what I was doing. And they should have kept it that way. These crybabies got in there and said, well, don't take the internship, dummy. If they'll tell you up front, it doesn't pay. And so if you're like, okay, it's your fault for taking it. They told me, they're like, you're not going to get paid. I'm like, that's cool.
That's fine. I just want to learn.
Right. So that's where we've done wrong, and they need to go back and undo this and say, look, you can't sue. Everybody has the right to sue and be like, no, did you not agree to the terms of this? Yes. Well, dumbass, you agreed not to take money. You can't come back later and sue when they make you do work.
Grant in the chat room says, do a minimum wage paid intern, eliminate the lawsuit issue. Radio would never do it. They're not
No,
going
they
to
don't
pay.
have the money for that.
They do not have the money.
They will only pay people that have the skills already.
Right, you don't
and there
have
are
the
plenty
skills.
of people here
Yeah.
that work for minimum wage.
Yeah.
Plenty.
Yeah, you don't have the skills, the ability, and you're going to leave in 3 months to go back to school. That's typically what an internship is. So they're not going to bring you on and then have to always, after 3 months, try to refill this position.
So I heard because in D.C. they had internships after kids were in college that they were there. They would get into D.C. to work and see what it was like. And now they're out of college and they're doing an internship and they're not getting paid. And I heard that's when they first started complaining about interns, and it was just a trickle down effect. That's what I heard.
So what is it? They were they had
They
graduated.
had graduated, and they would get into something with an office in D.C., and they would be working there, and they'd have like a legit schedule where they're working, but they weren't getting any money. They were just getting the internship.
And they had agreed to that?
They did agree to that, but they're like,
Yeah.
we're doing work. What the fuck is this? I want my money. And I think that's what I had heard.
Don't take it.
Yeah,
Don't take the internship.
Don't take the job.
I worked for months and months and months for free, learning how to do commercials, learning how
Right.
to run a board, learning how to do. Nobody paid me for all that time.
You put it perfectly. You are getting an education, but I think their complaint was, well, I already had my education. Why am I not getting paid?
You didn't have the right education if you weren't able to get a job.
Yeah, and in that company themselves, if they're a place like there are a lot of people, and I would recommend this, if you could do it, like if I were into programming or whatever, I would go and just to work at Google, to be around somebody I admired, which is what I did in radio, I would consider that payment. I would do that. I would find a way to make that work, even if I had already graduated, because I'm getting skills. You then take those skills, and basically I always tell people that work for me, anyone, what it is, you've got to find a skill set that is invaluable, that is where you get, in a sense, your employer by the balls. If you're like going, I need what they have because it will make me more money. That's the leverage you need. With anyone in life, you got to find leverage. And that business eventually would have to pay somebody to do something. If not, then they're going to go out, unless they're just that amazing that everybody would agree to work for them for free. And if that's the case, so be it. But people aren't going to stay there forever because people are going to need money.
Do you think it's a generation mindset here? You grew up. I mean, you're obviously way older than a college person.
So old.
So old. But
Yeah, I am.
You
Very
grew up
old.
in a different type of mindset where crybabies did not get rewarded.
Everybody wants to put on a generational
I'm
thing.
asking,
and
yeah.
I don't want to even say that because that's too easy. That's an easy cop out. I would just put it on an individual at a time. And I'd say, yeah, things have changed because one person bitched and now the internships are gone. And so I don't want to put it on a generation or time or this or that. I can tell you my own personal thought process on stuff like that is sacrificing to make it happen. But then I tell you, when I get a skill set, you put somebody, an employer, in a situation where they need your skills to improve their overhead so that they can make more money. Once you get that skill, then you will find money.
And I can't tell you how many interns from back in the day turned into employees.
Yeah, that's how I wound up getting my job.
Well, that's why I ask if it's a generational thing, because we are typically talking about college kids at a certain age. What's changed? Why don't they see the difference? Then we're talking about it at such
it's a mindset
So
too.
is it a
I think it's a mindset too of like, oh well, I better get paid for this. It's not very smart because you are getting paid in knowledge, and if you had the vision to see the big picture, you would see that. It's very short-sighted.
But what's changed?
Well, I think what it is, I think not enough people have a killer instinct.
You're right.
I think for some reason, like it's shameful to teach that, and you need to have that, because you know what I would do is I would go over and they'd be like, hey, we're not going to pay for an internship and this and that. I'd be like, that's fine. I would take the skill sets. I would get all this knowledge. I'd get all this information. And then I'd be going, hey, do you guys have a job for me? No, we don't. I'd be like, that's cool. I would go to the competitor, be like going, I spent 6 months over there. I know everything they do. I have this skill set. I will show you how good I am and what I can do. Or I would form my own business and I would come at you doing that. And that to me would be the killer instinct to say, look, skills, you make somebody more powerful. You gain in knowledge, you gain in experience. You become a lot more lethal when that happens. I can turn this against you as a weapon. So it's like eventually either pay me or lose me and compete against me.
So in a sense, we've become softer. That killer instinct, that would suggest that we've become a bit softer.
Yeah, that's how I even told people. I told our former producer, Heather, anybody, I would say, I want you to get me in a position where you have me by the balls, where I have to pay you, where I'm like going, the show would fall apart without you. I said, that's really what you should do. Make yourself that invaluable. And then that's when somebody's like, oh my gosh, I got whatever it's got to take. I'll mortgage my house. I can't lose you. I said, you should always have that mind frame with your employer to say, I am going to put you in an awful situation that if you lost me, you would see a marked difference in how much in your livelihood. You like your car, you like your house, you like the vacations you're taking with your family. All that stuff would be in jeopardy if you lost me. You get somebody like that, that's the killer instinct, and yeah, they're going to pay you. And that's when you start making money. Yeah, but people want the money up front. They don't want to have to put somebody in a bad situation. They're like, pay me that now. I'd be like going, you don't have me in an uncomfortable situation.
Now you just pissed me off. Bye.
Right. Get leverage. People get leverage.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dickie Rants.
That's it. That's a quick little life lesson of what I learned. Life is about leverage.
Leverage is not something that's just given or takes a couple, even weeks or months. It takes years.
Skills, contacts,
and dedication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get that stuff down, and man, the world will be yours. That's how you start taking people down.
I think it might be a generational thing, y'all. I mean, if we're talking about interns and kids in college, I'm not saying that.
Did you see they put out some kind of study? I wish I had the numbers in front of me of like how many kids coming out of college and in college would like it to be a socialist society where all college tuition is paid for free, all health insurance is paid for free. Everybody like is the same. Like they don't want any kind of free enterprise or reward for like being that killer instinct.
Not to turn this into a political thing, but there is a lot of talk about socialism right now in the news.
I know.
And it would appear it's a bit of a younger perspective.
It is. Yeah,
I think you're right. It's a younger / lazy perspective.
That's why I asked if it's a generation. And of course, I'm not saying everybody in that generation is like that. I'm just asking the question. You both just presented so many cases about back in the day compared to now, and we're talking about people of that age. That's why I'm asking, is this a generational thing? And everybody in the chat room, it's a generational thing.
I'm saying myself because I knew lazy people that were my age.
Sure, and there are go-getters with the killer instinct that
Today,
are 15,
I see some impressive
20.
young people.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I agree.
Right now.
That's why I don't want to put it on that.
Agree.
But when you talk about the masses, and this study that I was looking at did, and it showed how 10 years ago, how many people wanted us to be a socialist society. 20 years ago, how many people wanted it, versus now, how many people want it. And it is drastically increased.
Well, the concept is fantastic in a sense, the way they're looking at it, where it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's have all this stuff. But here's the thing they don't think about is where does the money come from? And typically it comes from people who have more money. And Margaret Thatcher used to say, yeah, socialism is great until you run out of somebody else's money. And then that's the problem because it's going to come from somewhere. And like I said, my parents, we have a lot of friends in different countries, and some of them from nations that embrace socialism. One of them is a doctor who only works till noon. He said, I only work till noon because anything I do after that, I would pay all in taxes. And he says, our system, it doesn't reward you for excellence. And so you'll have a hard time getting any kind of excellence in any service you go out to get.
Wow.
These same young people who want the socialism and it's so easy are the first to complain when they don't get good customer service, don't get good services, but that's going to be welcome to your society. And go spend some time in a socialist nation and find out how they like it. And then come back and tell me you still love it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Daisy in the chat room, I want dirty jokes, not grown-up talk. She's probably a millennial. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. So someone said I am not a millennial. I just missed the age gap. Millennial Denny's is a millennial. The millennial ends in the year 19. It starts in 82, I believe.
And I think it's really more of a mindset than a birth year.
It is.
It really, really is. But there are more of that mindset in the more recent birth years.
Yeah, I don't want someone who's younger listening to this thinking, no, if you work hard, you work hard, and that's anybody at any age, and that's going to be in any group. I'm really kind of asking the question because we're talking about young people. I just want to know what's changed.
In your 20s, you need to work hard because trust me, when you get into your 40s, you're going to be so tired, you're not going to be able to. So bust your ass in your 20s and try to make shit happen because that's the only time you've got with all that youth and good looks and energy. Mm-hmm. Once you get to be too old and you have it figured out, then you can't even put the energy in it anymore.
You know who likes the youth? Leo DiCaprio.
He does.
I saw this. Did you see the graph they put together on Leo?
No.
He has never dated a woman over the age of 25. Ever.
Ever.
Leo DiCaprio, his current girlfriend, Camilla Morone, just turned 21 this year. That's my daughter's age. Leo is 44, my age. Like I said, that's where it's like weird because, I'm at that age now where I've got a daughter who's getting ready to turn 21. And so you got her friends that are
going to be on the Pontiki with you.
Partying, yeah.
Super uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it is a weird place now because, you see chicks, and it's kind of odd because I think sometimes you forget the body you're in and the age you're in because you'll go, oh, that chick's hot, and you go, whoa wait
a
that
minute.
girl could be my daughter.
That's my daughter's best friend.
It is odd, yeah.
I don't feel good.
It's a weird stage of life to be in. I'm not going to lie, where you're just like, that girl's, oh, wait, okay, yeah, she is.
You
need to go on the Pontiki with blackout glasses. Just completely spray paint the lenses of your glasses.
Yeah.
For a couple reasons.
Right. Exactly. That's why I wear them dark glasses.
It's for you, but it's also for the patrons on the boat.
I'm just kidding. I love your eyes, kid.
I know you don't.
I know I do. I'm just fucking around. The Pontiki hasn't happened yet?
No, it's going to be next Sunday. So I got 2 wild and out Sundays in a row.
Yeah, you do.
Yes. So we're going to be doing that.
You got the full gorilla beer on the boat for the girls?
No, I don't think we're going to go full gorilla. Because that's all you want is a bunch of 22-year-olds plowing down 9% beer.
Oh my gosh, that just sounds.
You need to get the beer, whatever it is, and water it down.
Yeah, no, I checked. That was
Kevin needs to sneak on there the night before and just
Put O'Doul's in it.
put O'Doul's
Yeah.
in the beer.
Yesterday's assignment actually was checking the ABV on the beers that they had. I'm like, they're 4? Good. Okay, that's good. Let's keep it right there.
Yeah, that would be a weird place to be in when you are in a situation where you're not used to seeing your kid drink, and all of a sudden you're on a boat with her and she gets hammered, like
Yeah.
fucked up. You're like, oh my gosh, baby, no, sit
Baby,
down,
no.
sit
Yeah,
down.
it is odd. And luckily, she's not a big drinker.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's great.
Even given the chance. I mean, yeah, she'll drink a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I've maybe seen her where she was a little tipsy, but yeah.
Who do
she's-
you think drinks more out of your about to be 21-year-old daughter or son?
Yeah, Colin,
Colin,
Caitlin,
yeah.
or Cannon, who drinks the most?
Yes.
Oh, the 10-year-old's a fish.
Yeah, definitely Colin. He drinks a little bit more. So and it's a weird place. Like, you know, he'll go out and he'll just leave like beer bottles in his room or something like that, where he'd had a friend over or something like that. And we're, you know, I don't get too bent out of shape, but it's like I'm going, gosh, it's so much different than if I were growing up with my parents. Like
Right.
The respect level.
They would have just lost, and I don't mind. I mean, I'm okay with it because to me, I took a different approach than my parents did. My parents are like, if I had a drink, it would be the end of the world. Like
Even at that age?
I was going to mutate and horns were coming out of my head, and yeah, forget about it. You're going straight to hell. So with me, I'm more of like, let's try to teach responsibility. It's okay to have a little bit of a drink, but the problem is when you lose your inhibitions and you act a fool and you do something dumb, it's going to stay with you the rest of your life.
I mean,
Consequences.
Yeah, that's it.
Kevin's big on consequences.
I'm big on consequences, so I'm like, yeah, have at it, man. But just keep in mind,
I think if you stayed at your mom's house and you did that now, she'd be mad at you. If you left a bunch of beer bottles on the floor, don't you think she'd think that's kind of like...
well, she'd think it's rude because she'd be like, at least throw them in the garbage.
Okay.
But yeah, she gets, I see it every now
What's
and then.
your mom?
I have a beer or two around my mom, but she gets nervous. She starts really looking at two. You know? It's like,
Yeah.
So it feels awkward. So
That's
I
that
don't do it
line
often.
everyone... I only had 2, officer.
You know what
Yeah.
she needs? A beer.
Yeah, your parents, do they drink?
No.
Never.
Not really ever. My mom, when she's in France, she'll have a little bit of wine, but that's about it.
Your mom drink?
No. Only time she really drinks is around me. When me and my sister take her out.
Okay.
She'll have a little bit. She likes the pink wine. She likes that white Zinfandel sweet shit that I wouldn't drink.
I definitely drink the most around you. And I mean that as a compliment, I think.
One thing I thought was interesting before we get out of here, story-wise, if you love the mobster movies, the mob is still alive and well.
yeah, I saw this story today.
Francisco Cali, the head of the Gambino crime family, was run over and shot multiple times outside his home Wednesday night on Staten Island.
Whoa.
They say the driver got away in a blue pickup truck.
How old was he?
He was only like, I think, 55 or something like that. He was in his 50s.
Okay, because that's
He was
younger.
he was a younger dude, but there was another guy back in October, a 71-year-old Sylvester Zatola was fatally shot as he was waiting in the drive-thru at the McDonald's in the Bronx. And he was allegedly in the Bonanno crime family, however you say it. So I assume those two are warring factions. So it sounds like there's a little bit of a mob war going on in New York right now.
Wow.
Man, just trying to get a 20-piece McNugget.
That's why all those mob movies make me so anxious and nervous because I think about that. You
You can't rest.
You're 71 and you're in
Yeah.
a damn drive-thru thinking you're going to get just a regular fast food meal. You've done
I'll have
8,000.
a fish full of.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Really?
You would get McKilled.
Well, that's a messed up place to get somebody because you got a car in front and behind. Typically, you can't get out.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's actually a great place to get somebody.
Right? So there you go. All right, y'all. That's going to do it for us. Friday, the weekend, St. Patty's Day. And I think we're sold out, too, the damn good beer bus.
Yay!
Yeah.
We have to say hello to Bud Chicken and Seafood. They're sponsoring today's podcast.
Podcast.
Oh my God, I gotta go to bed. I gotta go to bed. Try the crab cakes. Virginia, you like the crab cakes?
I do. I love the crab cakes. I also love the shrimp. I say this And I am a tough critic of shrimp.
You are. You're very critical of everything.
Do not just throw around
People.
congratulatory messages about shrimp. But buds, you're doing them shrimp right. Those fried shrimp are delicious.
Chow with the bird sauce.
All right, we'll see you on Sunday and back here tomorrow for the Friday KVJ show. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.